Welcome to the press briefing on the policy objective. We have Mr. Zhai Qinhua, Secretary for Environment and Ecology, and Ms. Choi, Secretary for Education, and Ms. Alice Mack, Secretary for Youth and Home Affairs and Youth present. Dr. Zhai will go first. Friends from the media, good afternoon. I'm here to brief you on the major work of my bureau, Environment and Ecology, in the Chief Executive's policy address. The EEB has widened its functions. We now cover environmental hygiene, food safety, and agriculture and fisheries. The District Matters Coordination Committee, led by the Deputy CS4A, has started its work to tackle environmental hygiene black spots in August. It has tackled 600 or so black spots. Our intention is to remove at least 75% of the environmental hygiene black spot by the end of 2023. The task force tackles long-standing major and difficult district-based environmental hygiene. Through standardized action mode, it will ensure long-term implementation. This year, we're going to consult the LegCo on legislative proposals to review statutory powers and penalties, and then the remaining legislative proposals will be submitted by the middle of next year. And we've also got this target by end 2023. We're going to cut the number of rodent infestation points by at least 1/2 in order to improve the odor of the Victoria Harbour. Our plan is by 2024 end, reduce the pollution load of discharge at waterfront of Tsuen Wan, Subshui Port, and Kowloon City by 1/2. Members of the public are commonly affected by noise from home renovation, and also from noise by use of loudspeakers for street cries. So we intend to amend the noise control ordinance to control such noise, and then we will establish fixed penalty ticket mechanism. Now, for carbon neutrality, we are going to reform the Council for Sustainable Development to become the new Council for Carbon Neutrality and Sustainable Development to expand the scope of its work. We will legislate to regulate the use of plastic tableware and also other plastic products. We're going to consult the Environmental Affairs panel next week. Our intention is to submit a bill to the Council early next year for phased implementation starting from end of next year. Starting from this year, we will start the public housing food waste collection pilot scheme. The first phase will cover 5 public housing estates. Our intention is to extend the scheme to 100 blocks of public housing estate in 2023-24. We will also require building management companies and owners in corporation in large residential developments and single block buildings with more households to provide recycling facilities. And we will also build IPAC 1 and IPAC 2 for commissioning soon, and we will plan to start IPAC 2 in Tuen Mun as soon as possible, and we intend to build more modern waste-to-energy incinerators in the northern metropolis. Our intention is to enhance the overall energy efficiency of all government buildings and facilities by over 6% in 2024-25, and we will also enhance the requirements under energy efficiency scheme. And next year, we are going to try out a new generation of electric taxis and also heavy vehicles and double-deckers using hydrogen as fuel. In the coming 3 years, we will add 7,000 charging points for electric vehicles in government buildings and car parks. And in 2025 or earlier, we will promote a roadmap for use of electric public means of transport. And before end 2027, we're going to introduce about 700 electric buses and about 3,000 electric vehicles. We will also start to plan for a super site for regional air quality and meteorology monitoring with advanced monitoring and computing capability for GBA. We intend to build the wetland conservation systems, and the ANFD has started strategic studies. Our plan is to complete it by end 2023, and we will complete the promulgation of the 25th country park, i.e. the Robin's Next Country Park, by 2024 in order to form an ecology corridor with Shenzhen Wutong Mountain Scenic Area. We will also review the procedures under the Environmental Impact Assessment Ordinance. The EIA process can be compressed from 36 to 48 months to 18 to 24 months. We attach significance to the development of agriculture and fisheries. We're going to formulate a blueprint for sustainable development of the industries together with the two sectors. And in phases, we're going to launch a number of measures to enhance the quality, the value and productivity of our agriculture and fisheries products. We will report to the Council our blueprint within 2023. Food safety is also an important aspect of our work. We will review the legislation to regulate veterinary drug residues in food in 2023, and will consult the public. And we will also complete our legislation to regulate additives in food as soon as possible. And we are going to introduce a professional certification system for food business licensing regime so as to shorten the processing time. That ends my presentation. Madam.
Now, education has all along been the major focus of our administration, and one of the major items of expenditure. The Education Bureau is focused on developing education and taking care of the needs of students at different stages, and to provide opportunities for their development so that they become, persons of, with moral education and who love the country, so that they can follow the dreams and also face the challenges in the future and make a contribution for the development of our country and Hong Kong. Character building is our characteristic. We will focus on unleashing the students' potential and also enhancing our education system. I will use 4 terms: education, science and technology, and so on, to elaborate on the proposals in the policy address. Technology. The government is focused on developing STEAM education in order to equip our students to face the challenges of the 21st century. Our Bureau will adopt a popular approach to STEAM, to promote STEAM education, to enhance the ability of problem solving and to unleash the creativity. We will add more STEAM elements in the curriculum, including the addition of the coding program for the junior primary schools, and also the AI element in the junior secondary schools, in order to develop talents with potential. Starting from the next academic year, every school will have to organize STEAM activities every year in order to enhance the leadership and coordination of STEAM education. Starting from this academic year, the schools will need to deploy coordinators to plan and coordinate STEAM education within and outside the classroom, and to arrange for students and teachers to participate in professional development in STEAM education. Teacher plays a very important role in developing the right values and the sense of national identity among the students. They will need to have the professional ability and integrity, to protect the interests of the students, what they say and their behavior should be compatible with professional code of conduct and meet the expectations of parents and the community. For that, we will launch a professional code of conduct for teachers to clearly delineate the requirements regarding teachers' professional conduct and personal behavior, and that they should set an example for students, and the schools should also lay down measures for the management of the conduct of teachers. Also, starting from the next academic year, the basic law requirement for teachers will be extended to all direct subsidy schools, and also kindergartens will participate in the kindergarten education scheme. The tests will incorporate the subjects involving the basic law and the national security law. For all the new recruits and also teachers in publicly funded schools aspiring for promotion will have to participate in mainland study tours to enhance their understanding of the opportunities in the mainland. Next, VPET education and tertiary education. The government has all along been actively promoting VPET education, encouraging young people to follow their interests and select their own, career path and join different industries, so that we will adopt a strategy of collaboration between the academia and the industry. We will encourage collaboration between schools and industries, provide diversified learning opportunities so that we can nurture more quality, more talents. So starting from next academic year, we will increase the self-finance higher diploma and also the self-finance undergraduate places, and this will also cover the top-up degree programs as well, in order for the tertiary institutions to admit more students with vocational qualification. Starting from next year, we will launch the applied education program. We will also increase the number of industries covered by the quality framework from 6 to 18. We will work together with the industry to further enhance the quality framework in order to enhance the promotion, career prospects and promotion prospects for practitioners. For tertiary education, the number of postgraduate research places will be increased from 5,000 to 7,200 in 2024-2025, and also the oversubscribed limit will also be increased from 7% to 100%. This will increase the number of postgraduate students by more than 50%. In order to enhance the students' sense of national identity and sense of belonging, we will, beginning from this year, promote schools to review the curriculum and to increase elements including national, culture and national geography, and also to enhance so the schools will continuously improve teaching and learning, and also to promote national education. Starting with government schools, we will be launching enhance the students' understanding of the national development. Besides these measures, we will continue to enhance the quality of education. Facing the structural decline in the student population, the government will continue to monitor the situation, and we will put priority on the interests of students and education quality. so that there will be a soft landing. We set soft landing as the objective. We will rationalize supply and demand of school places to ensure that students will have a broad and balanced opportunity for education. We will continue to work with sponsoring bodies to support the industry so that they can have advanced learning, and also through relocation, integration, and expansion, we will address the question of the supply and demand issue of and the Education Bureau will also be implementing steadily small class teaching, so that after 2 years, more than 90% of publicly funded schools will implement small class teaching. It is our common wish that our children will have quality education. Going forward, we will continue to enhance our education to equip our young people for the future. We will work together with the different stakeholders to continue to improve our education. Thank you.
Ms. Alice Mack, Secretary for Home Affairs and Youth. Good afternoon. I'll briefly outline what is in the policy address within the ambit of the HAYB. The Bureau will focus our work in the following areas. First, we'll formulate the youth development blueprint. We are working on it to outline the principles, objectives, and actions of the government in pursuing youth development. We will also work out the future plan, the KPIs, and also measures. The vision is to nurture young people with an affection for our country and Hong Kong, equipped with global perspectives and inspiring mindset and positive thinking, with vocational skills and always ready to embrace lifelong learning. We will assist young people in overcoming difficulties in education, career pursuits, entrepreneurship, and home ownership, so that they see hope for upward mobility. The blueprint is the government's first major document dedicated to youth development. Our intention is to complete it and publish it in the by the end of this year, and then we will implement the initiatives together with all relevant bureaus, and we will receive feedback and review the blueprint regularly for further enhancement, so as to meet the needs of our young people in a timely manner. And we should also nurture a positive mindset among our young people. The Youth Development Commission will launch a subsidy scheme and to subsidize eligible NGOs to carry out projects that can build up positive thinking among young people. Projects for cooperation among different disciplines and to promote community building can be included, and details can be announced by the end of this year. The Youth Development Commission has also launched a pilot scheme to organize adventure training activities, providing food subsidy. The Commission and also the Bureau will, depending on the outcome of the pilot scheme, launch a new funding scheme in end 2022 to provide subsidies for young people to take part in adventure training activities. Starting from next year, together with youth organizations and also NGOs, we will stage the Hong Kong Youth Festival with a wide spectrum of activities to nurture positive thinking, facilitate development of potential, enhancement of knowledge, and promote experience sharing. And we've also got a new youth participation initiative to engage more young people in public affairs. The Bureau will engage more young people to take part in discussion of public affairs and also district matters. We have the member self-recommendation scheme for youth to increase the number of participating advisory committees from around 60 at present to no less than 180 within this term of the government. The HAD intend to set up youth community building committee to invite the views from young people on community development and works project. And then we will also build up the youth development and also civic education committee. Now we've also got policies to help young people. we have got the Greater Bay Area Youth Employment Scheme, and also a scheme to help young people to engage in internship in GBA. Depending on the development of the pandemic, we tend to set up an alliance of Hong Kong youth innovative and entrepreneurial bases in GBA. We'll invite organizations from Guangdong and Hong Kong, such as entrepreneurial hubs, universities, NGOs, scientific research institutes, professional bodies, and venture funds to join the alliance so that we can support our young entrepreneurs in GBA. In an orderly manner, we are going to relaunch overseas and mainland internship and exchange programs so as to broaden and widen the scope of participation so that our young people can understand the major development trends of both our country and the world, so that they can be integrated into the overall development of the country. And we will also have different activities designed for young people to enhance their understanding of different civil service works and different professional grades, so as to help their career planning. We will also enhance our youth hostel scheme by encouraging more NGOs to take part, and we will consider various ways and means to increase supply, including providing subsidies for NGOs to rent suitable rooms in hotels and guest houses for use as youth hostels. The target is to provide an additional 3,000 hostel places within 5 years, and the rent will be pegged above 60% of the market rent. And young people taking part will have to commit to various community work. And as for inclusive policies, we're going to set up district care teams to mobilize community efforts to enhance community network and caring work. The care teams will visit those in need. For instance, we are going to provide part of the resources, and we will also set up KPIs, and we will formulate the structure and operational arrangements. 18 districts will be divided into sub-districts, and then we will enlist local organizations to form sub-teams of care teams, and the relevant district officer will be the commander of all the care teams, and there will be a vetting procedure. In the first phase, we have pre-vetting process. All organizations are invited to submit their proposals. The second part is the assessment of proposals. The district officers concerned will map out KPIs and service needs based on the characteristics of their district, and then those who are qualified in the first phase can submit proposals, and the administration can then appoint care teams for each sub-district. Our intention is to set up care teams in Tsuen Wan and the Southern District in the first quarter of 2023 as a start, and drawing reference from the operation there, we will set up care teams in other districts. District Administration Review. This term of the District Council will expire on the 21st of December 2023. The Bureau and also the CMAB are now conducting a review of District Administration. We will take into account we will ensure that all district organizations formed in any manner in the future will be government in nature. They are just advisory organizations, and they must comply with Article 97 of the Basic Law. Now, the Chief Executive attaches a lot of significance to the role of women in contribution to society, to ensure that women can have a fair share of their resources, and to promote women participation in community affairs. The funding to the Women's Commission will be increased in the coming 3 years from $400 million to $10 million. That is the funding from the Women's Commission for women development, and then we'll also set up an empowerment fund for women. Thank you.
Thank you, our three secretaries. It's now Q&A time. Before you ask a question, please state the organization you represent and limit yourself to no more than 2 questions. Good afternoon. A question for Madam Choi. You said that before the end of the year, you will be mapping out the guideline for professional conduct for teachers. What is the progress of the preparation for the guidelines? Do you already have the penalties and other, initiatives in mind? And if so, could you tell us what will these measures cover? Earlier on, it has been suggested that the penalties, there have been too few penalties. Would there be more categories of penalties? Could you tell us how serious would the penalty have to be before a teacher would be disqualified? And also, question for Mr. Chair. You said just now that the penalty for littering and the fine of $1,500 will be subject to review. Some political parties said that the penalty is not deterrent enough because people would simply treat it as a sort of rent payment. So for repeat offenders, will there be a progressive approach to increase the penalty? Madam Choi? Thank you. Regarding the guide on professional conduct for teachers, the draft for the guide is already completed. We are now, through different focus groups, have been discussing the content of the guideline with the different focus groups so that they can be further enhanced. We plan to launch the guideline towards the end of the year. Regarding the coverage of the guidelines, we want to respond to society's expectations of the professional conduct of teachers. We will make reference of the framework governing the professional conduct of teachers, including the guideline for professional development for teachers and headmasters and the Code of Aid, and also the requirement for professional integrity for teachers. We hope that by laying down the requirements for the professional integrity of teachers, so that teachers as a professional, we will lay down what are the major principles governing their professional conduct. We hope to be able to change the times so that we'll be able to safeguard the teaching profession. We will clearly lay down rules as to what teachers can and cannot do. Any violation of the professional code, should there be any violation, where are the red lines that we cannot tolerate? So by doing so, we want teachers to know what are the society's expectations of teachers. For the guideline this time is different from the previous guideline because we will have examples to illustrate the principles and the things that teachers can and cannot do. Since the guideline is still subject to review at the moment, so I think they're related to some of the examples that we've announced earlier. So we hope that whether it's the school sponsoring bodies or the teachers themselves or our bureau, we will make reference of these guidelines to further delineate our expectations, requirements of teachers. Requiring our proposal to increase the fine penalty for littering and street obstruction. We are now conducting a review at the moment. The timetable is that within this year, we will consult LegCo regarding our proposal. We will not just be focusing on penalties, We will also consider how we can amend other legislations in order to enhance our law enforcement and to increase the deterrence. So by the middle of next year, we will have a decision. The other question is whether or not we can adopt a progressive system for the penalty. I think we will not rule out any options in the course of our review. I think our major considerations are, first of all, would there be enough deterrence? I'm sure we will be increasing the deterrent effect. And secondly, are the penalties commensurate with the other offenses? We will also be looking at the other offenses and then set the level of the penalty accordingly. And thirdly, in terms of enforcement, we'll look at the question of effectiveness and convenience. In the ordinance itself, there are different types of penalties for first offenders and repeat offenders. But very often, so we need to take the prosecution court, and that is a complicated process. Our deterrence may not be enough. So whether or not we can, adopt a progressive system for the penalties, this is also something that we will consider in our review. The lady in green. Good afternoon. A question for Madam Mac regarding the setting up of the community care team. Will the terms of reference overlap with that of the district council? Will you be scrapping the district council? Regarding the youth hostel, you say it is your target that you will increase the number of places for youth hostels, and you've talked to the hotel operators. What is the progress? And also for young people participating in the scheme, will they need to also take part in, community services? Now, first of all, the community care teams. In the policy agenda of the CE, he said that we need to set up district service and community care teams. The purpose of the care team is to, do a good job in terms of community care, and when there are major incidents, we'll be able to mobilize these teams. And when we had the second outbreak of the epidemic, many people were affected. Many district communities have actually, organized many activities which care for the community. So these teams can mobilize the resources in the community, and they will be coordinated by the district officer. Should there be a major incident, we will be able to work together, the government and the community, to mobilize our resources to do a good job in terms of caring for the community. Of course, we don't want to have major incidents all the time. So what the care will do normally is that for the community, based on, depending on the community of the nature of the community. If we have the 3 new buildings, for example, how can we help the owners of these buildings to do a good job to better manage the buildings and to renovate the buildings? In a community where you have more elderly citizens, for elderlies living in public housing estates, what kind of community care do they need? Or in some districts, there could be more subdivided flats. And for people or families living in these subdivided flats, especially children from the lower strata of our society, what kind of community support do they need? The care team will have to draft the service plan for the district commissioner, who will approve these plans. They hope that for these community care teams, they will, depending on the characteristics of the community, perform these community services. We don't want to see a situation where we've only mobilized our community resources when there is an incident. During normal times, we also want to go do a good job in terms of community care. As to whether there's any collaboration with the district council, if you look at the district council ordinance, you know that it is an advisory body. The community care team is a service unit, so there is a difference there, and there is no duplication. As for youth hostels, this time, for the youth hostels, we already have a plan in place. But this time, we're going to increase the number of places for these youth hostels. So we've adopted a new approach. We want to subsidize NGOs so that they can identify, hotels or guest houses, and we will give them a subsidy so they can lease these hotels or guest houses to operate youth hostels. Hopefully in 5 years' time, we will be able to provide 3,000 additional places. We hope that by doing that, we will have these places in the youth hostels earlier, so the young people who want to have a place of their own. With this new approach, we can expedite the process and increase the number of these places for youth hostels, so the young people will be able to satisfy the dream of having their own private space. In many of the youth hostels, we would encourage young people to also serve the community where they live. For example, many of our young people in Hong Kong are very talented. Some of them may have talents in music. Others may be good dancers or painters. So you can actually leverage on the talents to serve members of their own community. For example, they can help children from the grassroots level to teach them play guitar or paint or dance. We have this idea because in our discussion with young people, in order to work out the blueprint for youth development, we've participated in many discussion forums, and the young people we met all have positive mindset. They want, not only do they need help, they also want to help others. For young people living in these youth hostels, we hope that they can use their own talents to help other people in need in the same community as well. Now, before you ask a question, please tell us the organization you represent.
I'm from Singtao. Ms. Mack, a question on the district services and community care teams. Now, it is said in the first quarter of next year, this will be implemented in Tsuen Wan and the Southern District, but then the local organizations have yet to be informed. So when will they receive details? And what about the qualifications or the appraisal of the work of these care teams, and would they be disqualified if they fail to meet their regional targets? Now, it is natural for these districts to have not received anything about the care teams, because we have to keep the plan confidential before the delivery of the policy address. So when we have the vetting criteria and also application details, they will be published to all eligible organizations in one go, so that there can be a level playing field. But then, through this press briefing, I have already explained all the procedures. I will provide more details to parties interested in forming care teams so that they can start to their preparation. When we have information on pre-vetting procedures, district officers will give briefings to their local personnel and organizations so that they know how to apply. The basic qualifications are these organizations must be capable of providing care and services in the community, because we have to consider the characteristics of a district and then design services that suit the needs of the communities. So organizations must know the district well. They have experience in serving the community and be able to provide sustained care and services. And these are major considerations in selecting care teams. As for whether they will be disqualified, now we will vet their proposals very carefully, and in pre-qualification, the district officers will vet their proposals and whether they have made use of the resources carefully. Of course, we hope that all organizations who form care teams subsequently can deliver their undertakings in the proposals to provide appropriate care and services for our community. Thank you. The gentleman in green.
Question from the South China Morning Post. So first of all, we'd like to ask Dr. Choi about what kind of activities will be held for parents set in the policy address, and would those activities be compulsory for parents to join? And if so, then what would the consequences would be if they don't join those activities? And also from the PowerPoint slide, so what exactly does it mean to strengthen the accountability mechanism? So does it mean schools will be punished for failing to promote national education, and how their work will be measured? And also for Ms. Mack, we want you to elaborate more how you are going to help young people to buy homes and start their own business. And for the hostel scheme, expected to be added, 3,000 places more. Do you think it's still too low to meet the needs of those people under 40 years old? Thank you very much.
Okay, for the first question about the parents attending the national education related activities, it's not a compulsory one. It's voluntary for the parents to join. We encourage the schools to organize more activities and invite the parents to participate so that they can understand more about the country and support their kids to have more sense of a national identity and national pride, and their awareness to safeguard the national security of our country. So, and for if they don't join, they don't have time to join, I don't think that there's consequences, but we do encourage, if the parents have time, they take part to participate, to encourage, to join their kids in the activities. And for the second part about the accountability framework, we will strengthen the framework by holding school to have more accountability and more transparency to let the public and the parents know about what they are doing on national education to promote our Chinese culture and our students to understand our country more. So by doing that, school have to regularly have self-improvement mechanism by evaluating, implementing, and planning, have the PIE cycle. So if they don't do that, I think for their self-reflection or their school plan or school reflection, this will reflect in their report. That's the consequence. Thank you.
Okay. For your question about the young people's housing needs, if you look at the policy address, the Chief Executive has already dedicated a whole paragraph in addressing the housing needs of young people. You can see the determination of the government in helping young people to own their own homes. For the two new initiatives in helping young people to own their own homes, as you see, the Chief Executive has already said that we will again launch the starter home projects in the land sale program in the next financial year. And figures tells us that more than 85% of the past applicants of starter homes were aged 40 or below. So we believe that more starter home projects can help young people to cater their housing needs for young people to own their own homes. And for the new initiative under Youth Hostel Scheme, we plan to subsidize NGOs to rent suitable hotels and guest houses to provide more than around 3,000 additional hostel places within 5 years. This is almost double of the current Youth Hostel Scheme. So we hope that With all these concerted efforts from the bureaus, we can altogether address the housing needs of young people. For helping young people to start their business, in fact, we have already 2 schemes under the Youth Development Fund for helping young people to start a business in the Greater Bay Area. And in fact, we have already subsidized more than 200 teams to young entrepreneurs to start their business in the Greater Bay Area. And we are planning to introduce a new platform providing more comprehensive information for young people to start their business in the Greater Bay Area.
Next, the lady in gray. Good afternoon, I'm from HK01. Dr. Choi, you mentioned about encouraging teachers to take part in exchange programs of the mainland. Is that compulsory in nature? And what about the number of such programs to be joined in a year? Ms. Mack, you talked about supporting young entrepreneurs. It's about setting up their businesses in GBA. What about young people who want to start their businesses in Hong Kong? Do you have any initiative to help? Dr. Choi? Regarding our mainland exchange programs for our teachers, we hope that new recruits and newly promoted teachers can take part in such program within 2 years of their recruitment or promotion. The duration should be around 3 to 4 years, 3 to 4 days to enhance their understanding of our national development so that they have personal experience and then lead their students in their teaching to understand our country better. So for new recruits and newly promoted teachers, they should join a program within 2 years of their recruitment or promotion respectively, of course, depending on the development of the epidemic.
We have 2 projects under the Youth Development Fund to help young people, start up their business in the GPA. We know, of course, that other than the youth and our bureau, we have other plans to help young people start up their own businesses. This is the Youth Development Blueprint that we will launch towards the end of the year. So in helping young people with their studies, employment, and starting their own businesses, in the Youth Development Blueprint, we will lay down in detail various measures how we can help young people locally to take up employment, to start up their own businesses, and also doing the same in the GPA. Do we have other questions? Any reporters who have yet to ask questions? Perhaps you can now take the last question. Madam Choi, I'd like you to supplement on the point regarding penalty. Will you clearly list out the penalty? Sorry, the speaker is not coming through. Yes. Regarding teachers, if they breach the professional conduct, normally we will first give a verbal warning, then a written warning or a reprimand. In the most serious cases, the teacher's professional registration will be annulled. We said earlier on whether or not disqualification has a time limit. I think that would depend on the gravity of the offense when we consider the arrangement. Thank you very much. That's the end of our briefing.